Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew here with you on this cold, very cold Monday morning. So let's talk a little bit more about what we're seeing across the region right now. We have the winter storm warning still in effect, and we'll be watching everything very, very closely as the rest of the day goes along. So a lot to watch, a lot to keep an eye on, a lot that so many of you have been impacted by this morning. So as you are watching, please leave your snow totals. I know for a lot of you it's snow and sleet. Also, let me know what you're seeing in terms of power outages in your area too this morning, because I know so many people are still dealing with no power. We're still seeing snow coming down. We're still seeing the wind picking up for many of you. And I just want to make sure everyone is A-okay as you're getting ready. Maybe you have to head out to work today. Maybe you have to, I know there's quite a few of our first responders who are heading out as well, keeping an eye on everything this morning. So good morning to all of you. I hope everyone is doing well. Add in if you have power or not. I mentioned that, and the snow. So, of course, we have the winter storm warning that goes through this evening across the area. We have had quite a bit of snowfall across our region. The only SkyTrack camera that we have right now that's not frozen over is the one in Bardstown. And the main roads in Bardstown are clear, which is certainly some good news there. That's not the case in every spot. I know a lot of neighborhood roads are still completely covered over with that snow this morning. And it's one of those situations where we have not just snow this morning, but we have that layer of snow. And then you have all the ice from last night. And now we have a layer of snow. So it's the worst ice sandwich with a snow bread that we would ever want. And it really is going to cause some issues, because as you're even trying to get yourself out and about, you're going to feel that crunch. As you step onto that snow this morning. I know a lot of people have, of course, their dogs they're trying to let out, and the dogs, especially the small ones, are having a very hard time today. So make sure you're taking care of your pups as well. So let's talk a little bit more about what we have going on. The alert day still in place across our area as of right now. This is the camera that we have in Bardstown, as I mentioned, the only one that's not frozen over right now. So we're keeping an eye on everything going on. Good morning to everyone who is in the chat. Just keep me updated with what you're dealing with. Janetta says that power went out in Brooks around 3:30 this morning. I really hope it comes back on for you as well. Roseanne, you still have some of that power in E-Town, which is good news. I know Ghent, Kentucky, a lot of people there are saying they are without power. East End, Westport Road have power. That's good. 8+ inches on the ground. One of the YouTube comments, we got 8.5, 9 inches in Freetown, Indiana yesterday. Lexington here, cold, ice, snow, homebound. Laura, thank you for your comments. Moderate snow in New Albany. And let's talk about some of that snow and some of those power outages. Let's talk first about the power outages, because everywhere you see the oranges on your screen, that's where we've had quite a bit of that power out in those counties. So about 1,500 customers without power in Perry County. That's 30% of the county. Some of those numbers a little bit higher, though, in the Meade County. About 2,000 people there without power. Bullitt County, I know that number is decently high. 3,000 people in Bullitt County without power. Spencer County, one of those counties that has a little bit more of those outages as well. 1,500 people there. Shelby County, you have a few outages. I've seen 40. Let's look up Carroll County, 128. So that's 2% of the county. That's what we're getting right now. Henry County, 520. Franklin County, I know, has been having some issues, 527. The Metro, we have about just a little under 2,000 people without power. A lot of those seem to be on the western side of the city as well. And about 200 people in Grayson County. So keeping on Hardin County, you have about 4,500 people in Hardin County without power right now, which is not the best of situations when you look at the radar, because the radar is showing more of that snow moving in. You see the little blob. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pull a Brian Good and draw a little bit here, if it works for me. But there is some of that snow that's trying to develop off just to the west of our area. And that is pretty heavy snow that we're seeing right now. So we're going to keep an eye on that as well for this morning. And my graphics don't want to work for me right now. It kicked me out. Oh, I gotta love technology. But yes, we are seeing some more of that snow continuing to rotate through, and that little pocket of blue that you see, just that dark blue you see just to the west of Perry County, that is where we are seeing some more of those issues showing up. Okay, now it's making me have to go all the way out and go back all the way back in to even access my graphics. Yay, technology just does not work for me for today. But that's how it is, though. That's how it is. We're live. So this snow that's moving through right now is going to really continue to increase as we head over the next hour to 2 hours, and we'll be watching things kind of deteriorate in terms of visibility over the next hour for more of us. So in Indiana, you've been dealing with this snow around since about 5 o'clock this morning, and it's now that Kentucky's starting to get in on some of the heavier snowfall. Let me log in another way to get to my graphics, since this has decided to completely kick me out, which is not fun. We can do this together. Proof that live television is live television, right, y'all? And huzzah, here we go. Took me a little bit, but I got there. So here's what we're dealing with on the radar. We have that snow coming through our area, and here's where I was talking about in terms of where some of that heavier snow is coming down. We're seeing that right there, right outside of Perry County, and now it's moving towards Breckinridge County and Meade County. Going to get that rotating into and through your area. So you're going to keep an eye on the lower visibilities and the potential for higher accumulations with this as well. So it is just going to be that snow continuing to take over every part of wave country as we head over the next hour and a half. And that's because the low itself is now to our east. So we're getting the backside of everything at this point. So this is that last batch of snow that we have in the forecast as of right now, before we finally get a little bit of drier weather coming back our way. Now, with the snow falling, our temperatures are kind of just hovering in those low to mid 20s in most spots. 21 right now in North Vernon, 25 towards Fort Knox. A little bit warmer for those of you in Columbia. You were able to get into the mid 30s overnight. You actually warmed up a bit overnight, but now you're back down to 32. And that played a big role in the types of precipitation that we saw last night and early this morning. And it's part of the reason why a lot of us dealt with that freezing drizzle for a lot longer, because we lost some of that moisture, but we still had those temperatures near the freezing mark. And that is why we have that layer of ice on top of the snow. Wind chills for many of us in the teens and the low 20s across the area, especially in southern Indiana, where you have more of that snow on the ground. You're seeing more of those wind chills in the teens. But here's the thing, something interesting when I show you this wind graph map. Keep in mind, we are seeing wind gusts right now across Kentucky, 20, 30 miles an hour right now, right? However, we're not actually getting a lot of that data in terms of wind this morning, because the anemometers are frozen solid. So some of those are not even pumping out any data and measuring the wind right now, just because they're frozen. So that is influencing some of the data that we are getting into the station, and even the National Weather Service is getting. So that's a different part of the forecast. It makes the job a little bit harder, but we got it. But yeah, we're seeing right now wind gusts 10, 20, 25 miles per hour. And that is going to keep your wind chills as we continue throughout the rest of the day in the teens. So we're going to be watching for those wind gusts for the rest of the day between 20 and 30 miles per hour. And here's why the wind is not a good thing. We are continuing to keep an eye on, of course, the snow coming down. So that's the visibility issue. Plus you add the wind on top of that, that's going to lower visibility and even more. The second thing with everything with this, you have a lot of people dealing with ice on power lines and tree limbs. Now, as the wind shakes those around, things are going to start to snap. So even as we head into the afternoon, the snow is going to start winding down. Then this is when we could start to see even more power outages. The tree limbs break and the wind picks up. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well as the day goes along. Wind chills for the rest of the day, as I mentioned, in the teens, actual temperatures in the 20s. So it is going to be a very cold day overall, regardless of where you are. Cheryl brings up a very good point. Talk about the first responders. People do not need to go out if you don't have to. Yes. If emergencies happen, I know some people have to go to work. I'm one of those people who had to go to work. I get that. But if you don't have to be out on these roads, please don't be out this road. Just make sure that you are staying safe and don't become the issue that the first responders have to deal with. Okay. They already have a lot going on. So if you don't have to go, please don't go. I just want to make sure everyone is safe. We've seen a couple of accidents already this morning, quite a few people sliding off the roads, and we do not want you to be that person. And we want everyone to stay safe and stay warm as possible in this situation. I know some of you have to maybe even leave your homes because you've lost power and you're trying to get to a warm spot. If you have to do that, just make sure you're taking it slow and you're going safely. Okay, let's talk about the Futurecast, because a lot of people are asking how much snow that we're going to see and when it's going to be moving out. Well, of course, we have that snow coming down right now, mainly Indiana, Kentucky now starting to get into the brunt of it. As we continue over the next hour and a half, going to see more of that snow rotating through, and we're going to be watching for the snow finally starting to move out as we get into the mid to late afternoon hours. So as we approach around 3, 4, 5 o'clock, that snow exiting off towards the east. Some of you further to the west are going to get that clearing first, and then everybody else further to the east will be the last ones to see the snow clearing out. We get further into the afternoon and evening. Notice the clouds still around. We can see some flurries flying here and there at this point. And then as we get into tomorrow morning, we could see some clearing trying to happen. And if that happens, we will see some streaks of temperatures in the single digits across many parts of wave country. So let's talk about how much additional snow. So for this morning's snow, so for the snow that's already started and that we're going to continue to deal with throughout the rest of the morning into the early afternoon, we're looking at that band of around 2 to 4 inches of snow, of additional snowfall. This does include what has already fallen this morning for those of you basically right along the parkways and north. We have pushed that a little bit further to the south since we did see that pocket of heavier snowfall trying to push past Evansville. So to account for that, we pushed that 2 to 4 a little bit further to the south. Now, for those of you just to the south of that, in that lighter blue, so basically from Litchfield over towards Washington and Marion counties, you're looking at additional around 1 to 2 inches of snowfall. Thankfully, we don't have to deal with any more ice. That's the best part of this whole equation, is that we are done with the ice. We are just seeing snow as of right now, and we're just looking at snow for the rest of the day. So certainly is going to be one of those situations where we're going to be dealing with the snow on top of the ice on top of the snow, and that is going to make cleaning and clearing things up a little bit more difficult, especially with temperatures now down into the 20s. When we're near 32 degrees, we can handle things pretty well. But once we get this cold, especially once we drop down into the teens and the single digits tonight, this makes everything a little bit harder, which is why we may have issues on the roadways for even longer. Now, as I mentioned, as we get into tomorrow morning, we're going to see a lot of us in the low teens. But for those of you who, one, see some clearing in those clouds, and two, who have more of that snow on the ground, you will be in the single digits tomorrow morning. It's not if, it's just when. You will end up in the single digits tomorrow. So if you have to go out tomorrow, that's something to keep in mind. Gloria, I love your comment. Not going out until April. If I didn't have to work, I'll be right there with you. Trust me, I'm with you on that one. So in terms of our road impacts, right now we have the snow falling and it's slick out there. Even on treated roads, you could end up with some additional slick spots because of that snow that is still coming down. So please, if you have to go out, and keyword is have to go out, be careful. Trust me, be very, very careful. We get into this afternoon and evening, still going to be talking about snow-covered roads in many locations. Even if the snow stops falling in your spot, it may take some time for crews to get to you, especially for those of you outside of the metro. So be patient. Hopefully you're okay. And if you want to make sure that if you have to travel, just do so, as I said, safely. Snow-covered roads will continue to be an issue into tomorrow morning as well for many of us, because the crews, once again, are going to take some time. And the fact that we're going to be in the single digits, the teens later on tonight, that's not going to help them at all. And they need breaks too. They've been working so incredibly hard and we're so grateful for them, but they need breaks too. So eventually we're going to be dealing with more of those just mainly slick side roads, but that will be an issue into Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday night, Wednesday, even portions of Thursday. And we're watching the 10-day very closely because as of right now, we could have a few flurries flying tomorrow. We'll watch for that, especially with the clouds a little bit thicker. So we'll keep an eye on that. But tomorrow, only talking low to mid 20s for your highs. And then we have another system that's going to reinforce the colder air as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. That is why we're talking about teens across the area for Wednesday into Thursday. So keep that in mind. Now, we have 19 degrees on the 10-day. That's for the airport. So that means most of us will be talking 13, 14, 15 degrees for a high once we head into Wednesday and Thursday afternoon. So yes, very cold. Thursday morning is a concern because the snow on the ground is going to cause us to get colder, in addition to that system moving in and reinforcing the colder air. So we're going to end up on Thursday morning with a lot of us below zero for actual temperatures. That is dangerous cold. So hopefully the crews are able to get everyone back to power then, because that is a situation where you definitely do not want to have power. Let me get my words right. You definitely want to have power. There we go. Can you tell I've been up since midnight? But yeah, so we want to make sure everyone is safe and warm as that cold air moves in. Now, on top of this, we have another alert day for Friday. Surprise. But yeah, we're watching this area of low pressure off towards our south. And the track of this and the timing of this will be key to the totals that we see. But as of right now, it does look like we'll have some of that snow moving into our area for Friday and potentially into early on Saturday. How much snow? Still too early to say, but we're going to be cold. We're going to be in the 20s for highs on Friday. So that means anything that falls is going to stick. That's on top of what's not going to have melted at that point, because we're not getting above freezing this work week. So this means we will be dealing with issues throughout the entire week in terms of some sort of snowfall on the ground or additional snowfall by Friday. So that's why we have the alert day with even more of that. It is way too early to give you, I see your Dustin Weckman, I just saw your comment pop up for Friday. It is too early to say in terms of Friday's system, because we have to get past today's system first before we have a better hold on what's going on for Friday. But we're looking at some accumulations. If that low goes north enough, then we're definitely getting some more of that snow sticking across the area. Looking at the rest of our 10-day, we're going to try to get to the freezing mark on Sunday. Keyword is try. If we get a little bit more of that snow on Friday, that is going to keep us colder longer, which means we may not get above freezing until sometime next week. It is going to be very, very, very cold. Teresa had a question for me. Did you get to build a snowman? No, I haven't gotten to do it yet. The ice on top of the snow that we have right now is ruining my fun. I might try for later on this afternoon. And if I do that, then I'll definitely post a picture on my Facebook page. But no, I did not get to build my first snowman just yet. Not yet. But yeah, we're going to be keeping an eye on everything with the snow falling today. And just keep sending us your accumulation numbers, especially once that snow stops. And let us know how much ice is involved in that too, because that does play a role in the actual snowfall totals. And we're going to be watching for more snow on Friday. Everyone, I know you have issues with the power. If you have issues with power, I feel for you. Stay as safe and as warm as you can. Yes, Broderick, perfect. Thank you for this. A very good point. Keep your water dripping. Yes, with this cold weather, especially as we get into Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, this is a very good point. Thank you for bringing this up. I appreciate you as always. Keep the water dripping. Otherwise, you're going to end up with frozen pipes, and that is not something you want. That happened with me and my husband last year. With the cold weather we had even our water dripping, and we still ended up with frozen pipes in our kitchen. It was awful to deal with. It took us about 2 weeks to get that issue fixed. Thankfully, we didn't have any major damage. So just make sure you are taking care of yourselves, your homes, your pets. I know some of you have animals that have to be outside. Please check on them. Make sure they have liquid water in this mess. I want to make sure that everyone is A-okay. Keep in mind that the roads they're going to get more of these roads clear as we get throughout the rest of today, especially once the snow stops, especially tomorrow and into Wednesday. So if you have to travel and you can delay it until Wednesday, maybe that's not a bad idea. And of course, we're watching more of that snow coming our way for Friday. So a lot happening, a lot going on. You'll have Carson on midday with the latest. He's looking at the latest models coming in right now. And I'll be back with you tomorrow morning. And we'll have the whole crew here making sure that everyone is A-okay and updated. So we're here. we will traverse through the snow for you. We'll go into the cold for you to let you know what's going on so you don't have to deal with that. So thank you to everyone who's watched this morning. Thank you to our first responders, to the snow crews, to everyone who works at our hospitals who've been out and about in this mess, trying to make sure that we all stay as safe as possible. Even for those of you, I saw a couple of comments from nurses and OBGYNs who are going to hospitals to make sure babies get born in this mess, and we love it. So thank you for everything that you are doing with that. All of you out there, stay safe, stay warm. We'll be updating the wave weather app with the latest information that we get in throughout the day as well. So just stay safe, make sure you're A-okay, and we are always very, very grateful for everyone who always watches us at Wave. We appreciate you so much. So have a good day. Stay safe, stay warm, stay updated, and you will have Carson on midday with the latest.